What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you should all know by now, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag Rex Ruger. That's REXXX. You might also know me as AKA the King of Sleaze, AKA the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, AKA Diamond Dave Lee Roth Jr. That's right, you're looking at him. It's undeniable that I am the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a few grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Feeling good? Everybody in the house, including you out there, looking good. That is, of course, made possible by my favorite product. You too can look this good. Well, maybe not this good, but pretty darn close. Get you some. Coming to you as always from the lush lavender lounge of love, where it all goes down. Joined as always by the Keith Hernandez puppet, the greatest sidekick a man could ever have. This is, of course, the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills, but you do get thrills. And that's looking at the face of a real, live, bona fide rock star. Second greatest frontman to ever do it. And by the way, I am still looking for players for Love Sword. Nobody seems to have the cojones to take me up on it. But please, I implore you, hit me up. Send me some videos. Let me see your chops. Maybe we can work together. Maybe you can be part of the band that backs up the man. So, we'll see. Today, we have a good one for you. But then again, when don't we? And of course, this is also why you don't get any frills, because I don't know how to edit anything or do anything. I'm 50 years old, for fuck's sake, people. I'm doing the best I can. You don't need no frills. Trust me on that. You don't need bells and whistles and little intro songs and animation and shit hopping across your screen. Don't need it. You just need to get in here and get down to the brass tacks. That's it. It's a very simple formula. Today, I'm very excited. Again, surprise, surprise, another bona fide legend. So, let's just see what happens here. As we wait for our guest here. Because technology often holds us up. So while we're waiting here, we will well, let me first throw out that at the time of this recording, we are at 230 plus subscribers. So thank you all out there for subscribing. I appreciate all of you guys. And if you're watching this right now and haven't subscribed, please like and subscribe and check us out on Facebook, Pod Scum on Facebook, because for updates, for info on new episodes, for this, for that, for whatever the fuck you do on Facebook. So, it is what it is. And that's my spiel on that. And I would also, of course, like to throw out a big thank you, of course, to all the supremely talented people who have come on here and have, graced me with their presence and chopped it up with me and allowed me to do what I do on here. Oh, and our guest is here. See that? I was just trying to hit him up. Another reason why, of course, you don't get no frills. You saw it right there. What the fuck I'm doing? But what I do know is how to get you killer guests. We're going to chop it up with one right now. Enough of these shenanigans, right, Zach Simmons? Enough of these shenanigans. What? Thank God that was easy, huh, Zach Simmons?
It's always something, man. always.
It is. You know what? It really is. I thought technology was supposed to be making everything fucking easier. What's the problem? You know? I mean,
it's part user error, part yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, I'm 50 years old, so I always tell my audience I know very little of what I'm doing on here. You know, I mean, I'm you know, I'm on a very rudimentary level as far as technology. You know, very basic.
Really.
I mean, just didn't grow up with it. You know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, I mean, it's just you know, a different era, a different time frame. You know, I mean,
I hear you, man.
The great ZACK Simmons from GOATWHORE, which oddly enough was, and I'm certainly not going to seek any litigation here, but that was the nickname for my ex. Just want to put that out there right now. GOATWHORE.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect, right? It is perfect for a nasty ex, right?
There you go. Whatever
it works good. So, hey, listen. First of all, man, you're going on a pretty damn good run here, man. I mean, you're sneaking up on 20 years in this band.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Yeah, time fucking flies, and still happy to be here doing it. You know, it's cool.
Yeah. Are you a NOLA guy? Is that where you're born and raised?
No, I'm actually born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and I still currently live there. But yeah, I've lived in New Orleans off and on for the last 20 years, basically, and the band's still based here, and it's kind of home base for us. But yeah, you know, from Phoenix, and it's I don't know, living here off and on for that long, it kind of got to a point where we're on tour so much normally. You know, kind of live wherever you want. You know, we're all kind of spread out nowadays. So, you know, we show up here to rehearse before a tour, and so you know, it's for me, it's still a cool, nice place to visit, but I didn't really necessarily like living here.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your upbringing like? Like, how soon did you tap into the music thing and know that's what you want to do? Did you have aspirations to do anything else?
Not really, man. I mean, I didn't really have time to honestly figure anything else out because started playing drums and getting, you know, trying to become a musician when I was like 8 years old. You know, starting with like school jazz band and then drumline in high school and stuff. And then I joined GOATWHORE and moved out to New Orleans when a week after I graduated high school. So honestly, I didn't have any time to really think about or figure anything else to develop any other worthwhile skills in life. So here I am.
What was the first music that really resonated with you? You know, that really got you on fire for music. Was there a specific band or a specific artist?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Black Sabbath, and I don't know. It's funny because a lot of my people in my band, and then a lot of, you know, kind of peers that are another generation older. But it's funny to talk to them about, because I was kind of on the, being a younger dude in the scene, I guess I kind of grew up on the same trajectory of, you know, getting how I got into metal. You know, I was a little late, you know, compared to them, but it was the same kind of trajectory of, you know, and sequence of bands that I got into, and how I got into metal. It was kind of so similar. It's kind of weird to think about, but yeah, definitely started out with Black Sabbath and then snowballed into, you know, heavier stuff from there on out, you know.
So, you know, obviously, you know, 20 years in this band, when you guys get together to, you know, to create music, what's the creative process like for GOATWHORE? Does somebody come in with the lion's share of the ideas? Is it like Ben and Sammy, or, you know, is that door like, you know, open for all you guys to contribute?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It always is. But I mean, obviously, just metal music in general, and especially with this band, I mean, it starts with the riff, you know.
Right.
And so that's definitely on kind of Sammy's shoulders, obviously. But I mean, he has no shortage of killer riffs, man. He's just one of those dudes that, you know, he just pumps them out, you know. So, which is a cool thing for me because I guess my role when it comes to writing is like it's like I'll have like different ideas about just arrangements and like
Right.
kind of sequencing those riffs, because I guess everybody has their own you know worthwhile attributes when it comes to writing, but it's obviously and it's great at it's like the wordsmith of the band, writes the lyrics obviously, but I guess my role, I try to come up with more arrangement ideas and then try different like it might be a killer riff, we're repeating it so many times, but all right, these 4 times let's add this little variation or a tail on the riff to make it a little more interesting, and like just try to come up with little like clever ideas like that.
And what was COVID like for you guys? You individually and as a band, how did you guys spend that time? Was it particularly fruitful for you as far as like creating, or for the band creating? Did you guys kind of peel back and take some time off? What was that period like when we were hunkered down and we really couldn't do shit?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was no choice but to take some time off, but honestly, we made use of that time pretty fucking well. So basically, that whole time, like we're planning on being off the road anyways. So, so we're working on a new record. So we just used that extra time to, keep writing, and then we went in to record the record, and yeah, it was almost like it took a little bit of pressure off that whole process because there wasn't a tour coming up. We're like, oh, we got to be, finish the record before this tour or something. So we were able to really concentrate and really nail down the songs. And yeah, I mean, as shitty as it was and uncertain as it was, it was already, a planned fucking block of time that we weren't going to be touring, and we went in, recorded, did the record. We did a couple shows, like once Texas opened up, we did a run through Texas, and then we also did like a live stream thing.
Yeah,
that's a lot of bands doing that, and we did a pretty cool one. But it was cool for us just to be able to. It was like we went down to Florida to do it at like some little sound stage thing, and it was like you're going to play a show. Like we got in the van. It felt like we're going to do something, which is kind of cool. I mean, it was cool for what it was, and it was just nice to be able to go and play somewhere else than your practice room.
And when you think about touring now, obviously, the priorities in people's lives change over the years. People have kids, people have significant others. You guys sit around and consciously, plan out your touring itinerary based on your personal lives. And has the touring itinerary changed over the years? Has it scaled back? As far as like you guys when you're scheduling, events or shows.
I guess the main thing nowadays is compared to say like I don't know early like 2006 to 2010 or something, like when during that time, like I just remember any tour offer that came through, it was like yes.
Yeah.
We'd be at a fucking venue, like, and I'd be taking a piss, look, and there'd be like the venue's schedule of shows over the next 3 months. I was like, all right, so we're there that night to play whatever current show, and then like all right, GOATWHORE, like 3 other times on that list. I'm like, man, that's a little excessive, but I mean, it served its purpose for that time, because we're busting our ass and putting in the work, but I guess now it's good to be a little more picky and choosy, I guess, you know what I mean? And also be conscious of, all right, you don't want to overexpose yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, honestly, I think for younger bands, it's good to, get the fuck out there and do everything you can. But but at a certain time, I think you might be like working against yourself. You know, if you're hitting like it for every major market like more than twice a year, I think you might be wearing yourself a little thin as far as
you're oversaturating yourself into the market. Yeah.
You kind of just want to keep some demand there, and also it's like keep them wanting more. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's the kind of the way we think about it now, but also at the same time, if it's a cool opportunity and it's something like it's like, of course we're gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But the parameters of the music business have changed so much, though, that it's almost become quite essential to be on the road, though, right? To make some coin, right? I mean, it's you know, obviously with album sales not being what they were, you're really seeing a lot of people, you know, kind of forced to really hitting the road a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of, I mean, I hate to even say this, but I mean, for us, we're just such a live band, and we kind of just thrive in that environment of playing live and putting out a record for us. I mean, it's like it's a natural thing, obviously, but for a band like us, I hate to even use this equation, but it's like, all right, putting out a record is like, it's a ticket to, we get to go on the road for 2 more years. And,
right.
You know what I mean? But it's also, you get to refresh your live repertoire with some new songs and flush out some of the shit you're bored of playing. But I mean, the record for us, I mean, it's obviously a natural part of the fucking game, but I mean, it's all about playing live for us anyway. So go
ahead.
I mean, if a fucking place has a power outlet, and we're gonna play there. It doesn't matter if it's the shittiest fucking shithole ever or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes those little shitholes are the best shows, though. You know, they really are.
I know, man.
You know, there's nothing better than the dive bar shows. So after so many years of doing this and playing, specifically you as a drummer, obviously a very, physically demanding job. Has any of that changed for you in the course of 20 years? Obviously, we get older. You see athletes, they can't really replicate what they did, 20 years ago or whatever. Has anything changed for you as far as like, the physicality of what you do? Have you noticed any changing? I mean, obviously, we can't hear it on the record. You still sound, just as amazing. But from a physical standpoint, though, do you notice it taking any toll on you?
Actually, I mean, just getting older, and I guess my approach, as opposed to when I was a teenager in this band, I learned to take care of myself a little better. Physically, I try to stay in shape, obviously, and I think I've zeroed in on what I need to do to make life easier for myself. More, on the road and playing drums and just with the physicality of it. But it's just a learning process, and it's you're still zeroing in on what can I do to make my life easier or more efficient, and that's it's a never-ending process. But I feel like I've got it pretty dialed in. I mean, on the roads, there's better nights and there's not so good nights, it's if you're really being critical of yourself. But I think that after doing this for this long, you're forced to adapt and kind of do everything in your power to
you figure it out.
Make it easier on yourself. And for me, that involves just consistently staying up on my cardio and lifting weights, and also like my pre-show regimen. Stretching is important, hydrating, because we still like to have fun after the show and drink. So with that involves the next morning fucking hydrate your ass off, so you're not cramping up on stage, because that bit me in the ass a couple times.
Yeah, that hydration is important. That will sneak up on you. And those mornings after, I mean, come on, the fucking worst. Jesus Christ. So I'm interested on like what your take is on the NOLA scene down there. I mean, you know, obviously we see, you know, great scenes in all kinds of different areas. You know, Seattle had their grunge scene. The Bay Area has their thrash scene. New York City has a great hardcore scene. There's great death metal down in the Florida area. Why is that NOLA scene like so great? Obviously, it spawned, you know, Crowbar, you know, Soylent Green, Down, of course, the great Pantera. Just a lot of great bands come from there. But why though? I tried to ask a lot of the death metal guys, like, why Florida? They got such good weather. What the fuck are they so pissed about down there and making this angry music? But I don't know. I can't seem to get an answer. But NOLA specifically, why such great extreme metal coming out of that NOLA area?
Well, I guess I mean like the initial wave of heavy music out of New Orleans. I mean, you could really trace it down to a few key players. You know what I mean? And it's still like that first or initial wave is you know like their Crowbar, Acid Bath, Soylent Green, Down, like I Hate God, all those bands.
Yeah,
you know, you can trace it back to like a very small pocket of people that are all like very, you know, they've all played in each other's bands at some point. So it was a highly like kind of relatable, close knit thing. So, and it became, you know, with one band's success, it kind of bolstered the whole scene in general, I guess. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think it's that like kind of a very tight knit community scene kind of thing. But also if you like go beyond that, like even current bands out of New Orleans, like lately there's like a whole fucking slew of killer new bands out of here, man. Like and for a while it, you know, it was kind of there wasn't a lot happening as far like aside from, you know, the older bands we just talked about. But now, dude, it's like there's a band called Brat that's really killing it, and they're getting out on the road, doing cool stuff. There's they're not from New Orleans, but Capra, they're from Lafayette. There's Witch Burial. There's a lot of cool like heavier bands out there, and they're Heracleon. It's like a killer thrash band full of like, dude, really young kids, and just a lot of cool shit coming out of here nowadays. And they're all like being active and playing every show they fucking can, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
doing cool stuff.
Get it.
We try to do our best, like to, you know, include them too, like when we play or do like little regional runs and stuff. So yeah, it's cool, man. Because for a long time there wasn't a lot of promise, like of newer stuff coming out of here. But so it's nice to see something like that happening now.
Where do you stand on the whole Pantera, you know, reunion? Obviously, it's a very polarizing topic. You got people that don't like it because the Abbott brothers are not there. You know, I've seen people calling it a cash grab. I've seen people saying that it shouldn't be called Pantera. You know what I mean? And then of course I've seen a whole plethora of people, you know, who love it and support it and love the fact that this music is going to be, you know, brought to generations of people that didn't get the chance to see the original incarnation of Pantera. Where do you stand on it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I had nothing negative to say about that. I grew up with Pantera. They were my Metallica for my generation. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I mean, I was lucky enough to see Pantera back in the day, you know, and I got to meet them, and like I have such good memories of, you know, growing up with that music. And honestly, I'm fucking stoked about it. I've watched all the videos. I look at the set list from whatever show they're playing, and I'm trying to figure out which show I'm gonna fly to before our next tour.
Yeah,
I want to see a fucking proper headline Pantera show with all the production. I don't really want to see them open for Metallica, you know. And
yeah.
So, but I think it's great, man. And you know, it is what it is. You know, like people are gonna always fucking have something shitty to say, and
yeah.
I think it's. I mean, obviously, I want to go feel that kick drum hit me in the chest again, right in front of the stage. I think it's cool for the generations of people that missed out on Pantera, and I think it's great for Phil and Rex, on another level, like to kind of, it's got what a fucking shitty situation, man. Like all around,
The worst.
for them to know that you put in all that work and your music means that much to people, and you're like just like fucking benched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not able to reap whatever rewards and you're seeing all these other bands go out and fucking do whatever. It's like good for them, man. It's like I have nothing negative to say about that.
And the guys that are standing in the roles of the Abbott brothers, you like those selections, Charlie and Zach?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't think there could be a better fit. You know what I mean? Like honestly, you can fucking play fantasy football all day and think about whatever, but who's going to do a better job than those two dudes? Those are
right. Especially being near and dear friends of the Abbott brothers too. You know what I mean? I think they certainly want to go out of their way to do it justice.
Yeah, I mean they have a legitimate history with them, and also I mean they're fucking professionals. They know what they're doing. Don't come at those guys with any grief.
Are you somebody that you see a lot of guys in the metal world who got their toe dipped in this project and that project and this band and that band? Are you somebody that does that, or is your main focus Goatwhore? Are you one of those guys that juggles a lot of different endeavors?
I do things when I have time, and if it's something that I honestly want to do, and it excites me, and even not for I mean, obviously my main focus is Goatwhore, so it takes priority. But for example, the first show of our last tour, it started in New Orleans. It was our tour with I Hate God. The tour started in New Orleans, and it's friends of mine. They have a thrash band in New Orleans called Morbid Torment. It's kind of like just Bestial Devastation, Sepultura, just like really old school thrash stuff.
Yeah,
but
love that.
They were on the bill to open the show, and I guess something happened with it. Their drummer couldn't do it, so like a few weeks before the show, they asked me if I would play with fill in for them. I'm like, yeah, I mean my drums will be there anyway. It's like, what? Sure, you're my friends, it's kind of like a no brainer. I'm like, that'll be fun. It'll warm me up for the Goatwhore set.
Yeah, it sure will.
If it's something like I want to do, and I like the people, that's kind of the reason I play music in general. And I'm lucky to still be in a situation with Goatwhore. It's like we're all just good friends at the end of the day, and it's music I like, and it doesn't feel like it's not like a job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the way I approach music in general. It's like it has to have that. I haven't got to the point to need to play music or go out and play for somebody or do a gig just purely based on like a monetary gain. You know what I mean? So it's always been for me like, as I appreciate it the way I did as I was a kid.
Now, do you guys sit around conscientiously, or consciously, I should say, and talk about the format of which you guys will release music? And I mean, obviously, bands and acts are going in a lot of different directions. Some people are doing singles, which doesn't seem as prevalent in the metal world, but there are bands doing it, going the EP route, the full length. And, you guys' last album, 2022, Angels Hang from the Arches of Heaven, that was a full length one. Do you guys like doing full length albums? Is that the Goatwhore formula?
Pretty much. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a breaking point to see what prevails in terms of what becomes like the new kind of standard, I guess. But for us, I mean, that's just kind of the way it's always been, I don't think we've never put out an EP. We've released like kind of one-off songs or covers for like a exclusive thing or something sometimes, but for us, man, I mean, that's just the formula, It's like, I don't know. And also, I don't know if it's like, all right, so if you just consistently put out EPs, like I guess that would be cool, but I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird for me to even like kind of ponder, because I mean it would still work. I mean, it would still be new music, probably a little more often than a full length, but
Right.
I don't know. For me, it's like, even like being a fan of bands, like I like the full length because obviously you have your standout tracks, but I've always been like, more into like the deeper cuts, like
Yeah, me too.
the kind of less songs that gained less mainstream attention, So I don't know. I like the full length format, man.
Now, I want to ask you this, and this is something that I actually spoke to John McCanty from Incantation about, and obviously, the material you guys do, sort of a blasphemous type of metal or whatever. Do you ever get people on the road? You ever get any pushback or blowback from fans? Who think the material is dark or evil? You get these people, on the road who try to fucking convert, or they don't. You know what I mean? Like, John has actually said that that I, at least from what I remember, that obviously that kind of material sometimes doesn't sit well with people. Do you ever get any pushback? Has anybody ever pulled you aside and tried to, get preachy or anything like that?
I mean, we've had like protesters.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Sometimes, but generally, man, like, it's for how dark the subject matter can be sometimes. Honestly, it's quite the opposite as far as people who actually get it and understand it.
Yeah.
It turns into like more of an uplifting thing, and especially in the live setting, it's a place for people to go. Like, it's like, even if it's you had a shitty day at work and you're going to see GOATWHORE, it's a release for you, man. It's like,
Sure.
Place to be around people that understand you, and there's no judgment. And even nowadays, dude, like the past few years, man, like I can't tell you, like lately, like, dude, there's all walks of life at our shows, like trans people, like, every race, dude. And it's the coolest thing ever, man. Like, everybody, people who are at the show pay to get in there and want to go. That's like, they get it, and it's not a negative thing. Nobody's there like with a fucking frown on their face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
we're all having a good time, and we have a sense of humor. We're not one of those extreme metal bands that takes themselves too seriously and like just constant scowl. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like the subject matter is what it is, but it's more, I mean, just dial it back to like how you interpret the story of like Lucifer in general. To me,
Right.
to your average person doesn't really think about it too much. Oh, Lucifer's a negative entity or a personification, but to me, it's like the ultimate underdog story, like an uplifting thing. You can
Right.
kind of interpret so many things in life in many different ways, and it doesn't always have to be a negative thing.
Right. Good point. Good point. So as far as drummers go, who are some guys, you've been doing this for so long, I don't want to use the word influence, but who are some guys when they drum that you just really will always just perk up your ears and listen to, just the guys you enjoy as players, from extreme metal or otherwise?
All right. I guess like top three for me, just off the bat, would be Mickey D. I mean, drumming in King Diamond, obviously, holy shit. Motorhead,
Yeah.
fucking love Motorhead, and then Scorpions now. He's my absolute favorite drummer.
Yeah.
It's Tommy Aldridge. Like, yeah, what else? Yeah, needs no other introduction. But and Dave Lombardo, obviously, getting into a little more of the classic, just athletic drumming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as like kind of current dudes, one of my best buddies on earth, Ash Pearson, Revocation, 3 Inches of Blood. He's like absolutely. I mean, obviously, I just love the dude as a person, but
Yeah.
anytime we get to go on the road and I get to watch him fucking play drums every night, I'm like, God damn, it's a sight to see, man. And yeah, honestly, I could, as a drummer, man, like we can tour with any band, and I just enjoy watching people play drums. You can always learn something from anybody, you know what I mean? And they're like, it's cool to see just everybody's take on playing this instrument. You know,
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing for me, man. There's always something to learn from everybody. You know,
Because you guys are so known as a live band, you know, as you referenced earlier, I'm interested to get your take when you see these bands, and, you know, certainly not in the same genre as you, but when you see these bands, you know, getting dumped on, you know, on YouTube, when you see like a Motley Crue or a Kiss, for instance, a legendary band, but they obviously can't do what they once did, you know, do you like the idea of going to see a live show? And are you okay with it just being a performance, even if it has to be assisted by backing tracks and these little smoke and mirror type tricks? Or do you like to see like the genuine live article?
I guess, I mean, in general, yeah, I'd like to see a band out there just doing it, you know,
Warts
like
and all.
honestly,
Yeah.
but at the same time, all right. So in the case of Kiss, I mean, I'd rather, if I'm paying fucking $130 to go see Kiss, a band that I love, you know what I mean? And it's
Right.
like, realistically, you know, dude, they're fucking, you know, they're up there in age, you know, like,
Yeah.
all right. So if I'm paying that ticket price, if they can't, you know, if they need to be assisted by backing tracks or whatever to make the songs sound more authentic than they're able to perform them, yeah, I'd rather see it that way. And I don't want to think about it too much, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, you realize it is what it is. You know, I mean, I like that, that there's a caveat on there where it's more like just a Kiss performance. You know, what I mean, you're not necessarily getting the genuine article. They're augmenting and doing what they have to do to deliver you a good show. You know.
yeah. So I mean, what's the alternatives? Like, all right, so people bitch about backing tracks, and yeah, it sounds great.
Right.
So, all right, so what if you go to a show and then they're not doing that? They're purists and that sounds like total shit. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna bitch
Right.
too. So
Right.
they can't win either way. You're gonna bitch about something. Everybody's gonna bitch about something, man.
So what's the after doing this for so long, what do you find the hardest part about touring is now? Like, obviously we talked about you taking good physical care of yourself. You know, you guys are known to be, you know, on the road quite a bit. What's that one, you know, that one slog that you have to go through on the road constantly? Is it the travel? Is it the sleeping arrangements? Is it the playing every night? Like, what is it that really is the grind? You know what I mean? For the grinds on you the most when you're a hard touring band like that.
It's always the same shit, man. It's like, you know, sometimes, you know, you're not able to, you know, eat what you want or sleep as much as you want, but that's just road life, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like after the first week, dude, you're just kind of back in that mindset and zone, and you're just it just is a grind, you know. There's no other way around it. Sometimes some days are easier than others, just off the bat, and you just kind of resign yourself to, yeah, this is what touring is. It's not comfortable, and
Right.
you fucking warrior through it, you know. It's like it's part of the road that I like. It's one of the aspects of touring that I've just come to appreciate and get used to. It's like, yeah, it's like you're on tour, motherfucker. Fucking man up.
Yeah. Are you one of those guys who finds it hard to decompress at home? Like, are you one of those guys that's kind of climbing the walls and you'd almost prefer to be out on the road, living out of a suitcase and, you know, kind of that nomadic lifestyle?
Yeah, but also, you know, after doing this for enough time, it's like when I do go home, it's like turning off a switch. You know, it's like
Right.
you still, like, you know, first couple tours, you get off a tour, like, oh, I miss my friends, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, I got over that real quick. Like,
Yeah.
I get home, like, I appreciate my time off, and I get back into like my other routine. It's like, all right, well, yeah, I'm home now. Like, go to the gym every day. It's like, yeah, when I'm at home, I don't stay up drinking till 6 a.m. every night. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
You flip the switch, you know, and then I honestly like it more. So we finished that tour with I God, and I flew home for 2 weeks, had 2 weeks off, and dude, that's like the perfect amount of time off. It's like, it's not long enough to get bored, but it's enough time to rest and like kind of reset your mind. And then, and then I flew back out to New Orleans to start rehearsing a few days ago, and it was 2 weeks off, man. That's all I need.
So 2022, Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven. That just came out last year. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the music business has changed so much that it just seems like people are, and we talked about singles and EPs, and just it seems like there's an oversaturation of music, and people are just trying to, in today's busy society, just trying to keep themselves relevant and out there and having people remember them. So what's the timetable for you guys to follow up an album nowadays? Is there an urgency, even though you put one out last year? Does the process start again very soon? Or, I mean, I know you guys got a bunch of tour dates coming up and Milwaukee Metal Fest and that kind of stuff, but has ground been broken on a new album?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the process never really ends,
right?
Because I mean, we've always got so much fucking material, man. Like even for this last record, we had like 8. We had to whittle down like the songs we put on the record.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 8 other pretty much finished songs that we just didn't choose to put on the record, and so I mean, we've always got like a nice cushy starting pad for the next thing, but we haven't actually like consciously had time to like really sit down and start thinking about that. But I've already been it's kind of like a internal alarm clock. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's time to like in between tours start, consciously thinking about the next thing, So yeah, it'll happen, but it's not like a pressing, like we've never been a band that's on like a strict schedule or like a 2-year like thing, but I do want to have another record out within the 2-year mark instead of waiting another 5 years like we had that spacing in between these past 2 records. So yeah, I'd rather have a new one come out sooner than later.
So you guys are about to embark, I believe, next week on some tour dates, correct? And I mentioned the Milwaukee Metal Fest. And who are you guys going to be out with?
All right, so basically we're doing it's like 11 shows, and we're doing a run to get up to Milwaukee Metal Fest, and then Hell in the Harbor in Baltimore, another festival. Yep. So we're just doing a bunch of headline dates around those shows. And it's just pretty much us and then like local support at each gig. So it'll be cool, man. It's like that brings out just, the people aside from like, the fans that the local bands bring out. It's like, most of those people are there to see you. So
right.
So it's like, it's a more kind of dialed in experience. So you don't feel like you have to win anybody over, but like they're just kind of you're playing to your ultimate fans, so it'll be cool, man. I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, I cannot let you off the hook without the hardest question of the day, your desert island pick. We're dropping Zach Simmons on a desert island, and he can only take one goddamn album with you. Do you have a definitive one that comes along with you?
Yeah, Black Sabbath, Sabotage.
Wow, you answered that pretty confidently too. And now, why that album? Now you got to think. Now you're stranded here, but that album will cover the whole gamut of your musical needs until you die on this fucking island.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's
fair enough.
It's got some of the heaviest Sabbath songs. It's got some little softy bullshit on it too. Yeah. It's got everything you need, man. If you're feeling a little sensitive, you put on one of the lighter tracks. If you want to fucking rage and smash some coconuts, dude, you put on Symptom of the Universe, dude. It's got everything.
Good call. Yeah, and you know what? You probably are, if you're stranded on a desert island, you probably are going to get in your feelings a little bit. So having a couple of softies on there, as you put it so eloquently, probably is important. I mean,
man. Yeah, I men have emotions too. You know, after you're done smashing coconuts, you might want to go cry in a fucking palm tree or something.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, I don't want you to get your metal card pulled here on my show, man. I don't know. Can the drummer for GOATWHORE admit that he's having crying episodes?
Hey, I don't do it often, but you know, menstruation is a thing, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. It certainly is. I mean, you're talking to a guy that's been married for 25 years, so I've done some menstruating for sure. I've certainly had some PMS, and that is, of course, poor me syndrome when it comes to us guys. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it happens, dude.
You got to have a good woman behind you, though. I mean, you really do. I mean,
yeah, or like 10 of them, you know,
or like 10 of them. Yeah. Well, this has been really awesome talking to you, man. And I'm so glad that you were, and please, and if I keep referring to my ex as GOATWHORE, I also don't want you guys to seek litigation against me because, I mean it as a term of endearment.
Oh yeah. Good. Use it away, man. It's all good.
Well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, when you're trying to dig deep into the pantheon of disgusting names and you're really angry at an ex, I could see where GOATWHORE could be very applicable.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, man.
I know that's not the way you guys intend for it to be used or whatever, but I mean, it certainly lends itself to interpretation.
Hey, man, all we do is we put ideas out there, and once it's out in the universe, you can do whatever you damn well please with it, you know.
A piece of it belongs to everybody, so to speak. Yeah.
Whatever. It belongs to the collective conscience now.
Yeah, very well said, Zach. Very well said. Listen, man, I wish you the best of luck, man. Please do keep in touch, man. When some new music gets cooking, hopefully we can get on here and we can do this again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, Zach. I really appreciate it, man. And safe travels out there on the road, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Talk to you later, buddy. All right. Later. There he goes, folks. Legendary drummer for GOATWHORE, ZACK SIMMONS. Go check out the whole fucking GOATWHORE fucking discography, if you will. 2022's Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven, a fucking legitimate banger that will melt your face off. These guys are New Orleans legends. Right up there with the fucking Panteras and the Crowbars and the I Hate Gods and the Downs and the Soylent Greens. Boom. You certainly put GOATWHORE in that pantheon of great NOLA bands. Thank you so much, ZACK SIMMONS, for coming on here, man. Go check out the boys out on the road. They'll be at the big Milwaukee Metal Fest, Hell in the Harbor. You heard them. Go to GOATWHORE's fucking website. If you don't know how to work your fucking computer, well, you're fucked, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But thank you so much to ZACK SIMMONS, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And remember, until we get together, and Keith, do you like that? How I kind of clued him in on the fact that, I've called a few of my exes GOATWHORE. I felt like I had to come clean, But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And until we meet again and do this again, remember, all you guys out there and gals, take it easy and keep it sleazy.